What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one, I'm going to be talking about the one and only Tesla stock, what you should be looking after for the future. I'm also going to talk about why today was quite a bit of an odd day because the SPY and the Nasdaq were green as I had predicted, and I did think that Tesla would actually push up green with them because it has been tracking them for the last month or two. It's been almost in unison with them, and today was one of those first days where the SPY and Nasdaq were green. They looked pretty decent, and Tesla was pretty choppy and ended up closing a little bit red. So I'm going to talk about why that happened, what Tesla is doing. I'm also going to talk about the overall market, what is affecting the overall economy, what the Fed is doing, some big announcements for tomorrow as it's going to be an important day for the markets. And also I have some big tweets from the man, the myth, the legend himself, Elon Musk, because he did actually announce some very interesting things and updates for Tesla's products. Now, before I say anything about Elon Musk's tweets, before I talk about what's going on with Tesla, I do have to mention a couple of things real quick. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Don't take any of this information as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo with the link down below and deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed up to 10 free stocks, each worth up to $2,500. And the best part is, out of the 10 free stocks, 5 are going to come from the wheel right here. This means that you could win 5 free AMC shares, 5 free Tesla shares, 5 free Apple shares, and so on and so forth, or a mix of them in this limited time offer that ends in just 1 week. So please check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So looking at Tesla, this thing was down about 0.57%, a little bit red in the after hours too. And to me personally, I did think that there was, the potential for Tesla to kind of break out of that 700 range, maybe trade a little bit higher. And I was pretty bullish for today. It ended up not doing what I thought, but overall, it didn't break down either. I mean, we're just barely red, about 0.57%. And so far, Tesla's doing something a little bit similar to something we saw in the past, and that is trading in ranges. So if we go back to like 2021, maybe different months, maybe the early months of this year, Tesla had a tendency where it would trade in a range, then it would push up pretty hard, trade in the next range, then push up, and then continue like that. Now, I'm not saying that's going to continue to happen, but so far it is showing some signs that we may continue to see very similar moves. Now, what does this mean for Tesla going forward? I do think that Tesla is essentially going to be bound in this range unless we finally get the breakout we're looking for. And I do think that it is very possible for us to break down in either side, but that's going to be dependent on some news that's coming out. It's dependent on the Fed, it's dependent on what's announced, and that's why tomorrow is going to be another important day. So looking at the overall market right now, if you look at the fear and greed index, the market is still on the extremely fearful side, and this is having a bit of an effect on how the market is kind of performing, because right now the market's very choppy. People are very uncertain about which direction we're going to go in, and also the news about the recession. The market's kind of on the edge for the big tech earnings that are coming out, and also what the Fed may be announcing. Now, if we go back to here, we can see the Fed minutes were just pretty much what we expected. The Fed is showing their intent to tame inflation, but if I go down here, right, down here, we can see Wall Street will be looking for clues regarding the Fed's aggressive battle with inflation and remarks from St. Louis Fed President James Bullard and Fed Governor Christopher Waller Thursday afternoon. So tomorrow, during the afternoon, we're going to see two important people from the Fed speaking. And if they do say anything really, really big, it could cause the market to move. And I do think we should see some choppy price action tomorrow. Now, another thing that's very important is from the Big Short, Michael Burry also made a very important announcement, and that is he believes inflation is going to be prolonged. It's going to last longer than some people would expect. But by prolonged inflation, we're referring to inflation being above 2.5% or like 3%, which is what the typical range should be. Typically, it should be 2 to 2.5%. It still is relatively high. We're seeing continued supply chain issues. We're seeing many, many big issues that will affect us. And we are seeing him arguing that the Federal Reserve is actually very late when it comes to quantitative tightening. And he does think that they're not really kind of meeting that rebalancing budget goal that they really, really set. So as a result, there are indications out there that the Fed may have to be even more hawkish, which is not a great sign for the markets, but we'll have to see what the next CPI report and GDP reports show as well for us to conclude that. But that is an indication that the final bottom has not been found just yet. Is it guaranteed? No, but it is just an indication, right? That means that there could be more potential downside in the upcoming months for the market, for Tesla, and many stocks going forward. So, what's going on with the share price? And like I said before, it was very unusual. And I'm going to be honest, the last few months, Tesla has been moving very similar to that of the SPY and the NASDAQ. When the SPY and NASDAQ are green, Tesla happens to be green as well. So seeing the SPY and NASDAQ look kind of bullish, seeing Tesla saw that very bullish move, it did seem very probable we'd see a green day. I did think Tesla could actually move to this bound. I was wrong about that though. Sometimes it doesn't do things that you expect. But when you look at the SPY and NASDAQ, this is where things become very interesting. So I drew out, let me actually close the Bollingers to make this a little bit more clear. I drew out that 385 range as being that key resistance level, and that is exactly where the resistance level was for SPY. So I want to see it kind of test this out, and this is actually a pretty high range, so I expect it to be pretty sideways, pretty choppy tomorrow, with the Fed having the big announcements that could be made. If Bullard says anything new from the Fed, it could lead to some bearish price action too. So I basically just see a pretty much sideways, maybe not the best day for tomorrow for the SPY, just it kind of ranging the same way it has been. It could be a little bit green or a little red, it doesn't matter too much. And overall, I am aiming a little bit more on the green side. We are a little bit green in the after hours, and I do think we're going to test 385 tomorrow. For NASDAQ, very, very similar situation. If you look at the NASDAQ, it actually pushed up very strongly today. We look just like this. We saw this nice continuation. So if you look at this, the Nasdaq saw this nice continuation on this uptrend. I did think Tesla would do this. Instead, Tesla just stopped, which was very odd. But as a result, we're seeing the Nasdaq getting rejected off 11,443, and it does look like it might continue to trade kind of sideways as well. Once again, it is dependent on what on earth the Fed announces, so be on the lookout for that tomorrow. Now, as a result of this, I expect some choppy price action for Tesla, and we could break out in either direction depending on what is announced. If the market is really bullish, if something amazing happens, watch for 700. That's the key zone. If we can break out of 700 and hold it, we're most likely going to start trading in this upper range between 715 and 700. If something really bad is announced, if something the market doesn't like and the big hedge funds that are watching Bullard and what under the Fed says, if something bad happens, Tesla is going to be testing 680, trading sideways in this range. And if anything, if we end up breaking below 680, then the next range right here would be between 666 and 680 again. So to make this simple for you, and this is kind of like what Tesla has been doing alongside a lot of stocks, we're seeing very, very choppy price action that's essentially sideways. So let me zoom into the chart a little just to show you what I'm talking about, just to make this clear and simple. So we'll see what the Fed announces. That's going to be big for the markets. Tesla so far looks like it's doing this. It's just moving back and forth between here and here, like this, right? Well, the question is, are we going to break in either direction or are we going to break down? What are we going to do? And so far, there isn't really a clear direction right now. It could really go in either way. But if we get a nice breakout, all right, what Tesla would probably end up doing is we're going to start trading in this upper range. So the stock price is going to push like this. If we break past like 700, then we might start trading in a range like pattern like this. And this is what Tesla has been doing for quite a bit of time. And this would be like more of a green day, a more bullish day. And that's once again dependent on many factors. And if something bad happens, if they announce something completely new, if the Fed announces that they're going to be more stricter on quantitative tightening, for instance, Tesla could start testing 680 and then it drops like this and starts trading in this range just like this. So it's very simple, but it's also very interesting how this thing could end up moving. This is really what you have to look out for. So, but remember, 666 and 680 would be that bottom range. The middle range is about 680 to 700, which I think is where we're going to be for most of tomorrow. And then the upper range is going to be between 700 and 715. Now, what do I think is most likely to happen? So far, it's not showing a clear sign of direction. So I do think it's very likely we just continue in the same range we're in. So I am seeing this as being one of the most likely possibilities. Let me actually make it yellow so it's easier to see. I think we're just going to be sideways for most of the day. I don't see a massive break in either direction until we get some big news or some big catalyst. And just to show you another example of this, let me go back to when we started, or we ended June essentially. Look at how we stayed in this range for about a week, just going back and forth and back and forth. One big drop right here, but besides that, we basically stayed in the same range. And I do see something very similar happening right here, unless we get that breakout. So you need to pay very close attention to what the Fed announces and what on earth happens tomorrow. Also, we have other catalysts coming out, such as earnings. I believe some are starting next week, but more are going to start during the third week of July. So be prepared for that as well. Other than that, at the end of the day, I think Tesla does have some potential room for upside. It is still very possible for the market to see some upside within the next week. But like I said in my previous videos, by the time we get to the third, maybe fourth week of July, I do anticipate some bearish price action with the FOMC meeting coming up, with the GDP reports and potential earnings, which will kind of reflect the current state of the economy that we are in. And I do think this choppy price action is a result of July, you know, how that typically happens in July, and also the uncertainty in the market, and a lot of big market makers and institutions kind of waiting to see what really happens with these earnings and other factors like that. With that out of the way, I don't expect a super exciting day for the markets. I think things are going to get a little bit boring for the next month or so, or next couple of weeks. I do think that we're going to stay in this range. That's essentially how I'm seeing it. But going forward, we do have some very interesting things to discuss about Elon Musk. Now, before I talk about that, I want to talk about this right here. There was a big article that came out from the New York Post. I just wanted to talk about it real quick. It basically states that Elon Musk's Tesla no longer I think that wording is wrong. Elon Musk's Tesla no longer the world's top seller of electric cars. So this is important because look, at the end of the day, there are other companies out there, such as BYD, which are selling more cars per month or for the 2 quarters in total than Tesla. But the thing about that is a lot of them they're selling uh, full battery electric vehicles and plug-in hybrids, right? Both of them in total. So can you really compare that to Tesla? It's really up to you. But here's my view, okay? We could compare every company for the rest of our lives. What matters more is not who's selling the most. Because remember what Elon Musk stated when asked what is the goal of Tesla? It is to accelerate the advent of electric technology, renewable resources, and so on and so forth. So, with that said, they want to innovate the EV sector as a whole, and they don't want to be compared 24/7. What you need to pay attention to is Tesla improving fundamentally? Is Tesla's revenue going up? Is Tesla beating their quarterly earnings reports? Is their earnings per share better? Is their PE ratio good? Look at those factors. Look at how those things are coming out. Don't pay too much attention to some other company that may sell more than them. Yeah, that's fine because we like competition. We like to see things like this happening. So don't fall for these articles out there. Sure, there could be another company selling more EV cars per quarter in the future than Tesla. Who knows? It could happen. It does not bother me one bit. What matters is Tesla. How is it growing? Are the numbers looking good? And is it still very bullish for the long term, which I believe it will be? This is also similar to the real world. You can't always compare yourself to other people. We have different circumstances. We're dealt different cards in life. And it's better to just focus on yourself, focus on your future, and focus on your own life before trying to compare yourself to anyone else. It's very important to stay humble. Tesla is a very humble company, and I see lots of upside for its future. Now, looking at some things involving Elon Musk that are very interesting that I actually wanted to talk about are what on earth has he been doing on his Twitter page? And this is very cool. So Elon Musk liked this tweet again. This is basically, it shows this very beautiful art in India, right? And I found it very interesting how Musk keeps on liking these. I mean, I'm not trying to insinuate anything, but what's interesting about this is the last time Musk liked another piece of art from India, he ended up tweeting about India as well because people asked him, okay, what are your plans when it comes to expanding your gigafactories into India? And he mentioned that there are a lot of political issues they're dealing with, regulations, and right now in the near term, it's not on the table. So when Musk said that, right, he was showing interest in India. So I'm not sure if this is just another Easter egg for some big plan for the long term future. It could be. It's just something I wanted to put out there. And who knows? It could be very, very big going forward. Now, when it comes to bigger pieces of news coming out, we could see this right here. Tasmanian, I think I said that wrong. Anyways, the Boring Company and 55 Vegas resorts, they basically tweeted this, and you could see Elon Musk responded, zip around Vegas super fast with Tesla tunnels. That's very, very, very cool. And this person known as Owen Sparks asked him how long until they are using full self-driving technology in the tunnels, and Musk responded, maybe later this year. That's very interesting in my opinion. This year we could have full self-driving technology for the tunnels. So a lot of people, and let's just look at this from a business perspective, an economic perspective, right? Because in economics, it's not just about studying the economy, it's also studying trails of thought. If you're a Tesla owner and you realize, wait a minute, there are these tunnels being built underground, and I live in a city and I have access to these tunnels with full self driving technology, I would be incentivized to buy these cars. It's a very, very cool feature. It could actually help out with traffic. And what's very cool about that is Elon Musk is incentivizing more and more people to buy those Teslas. So from a business perspective, the Boring Company, technically, it would be a bullish catalyst. It would incentivize more people to buy these Teslas. So it's very, very cool in my opinion. It pushes more demand, and I can't wait for what on earth ends up coming out going forward. Full self-driving technologies and tunnels seems very cool. I can't wait for it. Now, I also want to talk about this right here. Eva Fox basically tweeted that the structural battery pack of the Tesla Model Y is mind-blowing. According to many big associates, Munro and Associates, with the new 4,680 cells, the manufacturer has designed a dramatic reduction in vehicle weight. And Elon Musk actually responded by stating that structural pack is the right overall architecture from a physics standpoint, but it is still far from optimized. And what I really like about this is they're talking about the fact that they're optimizing their cars, they're making them lighter. And as a result of the cars becoming lighter, it could really make them a lot more efficient for customers going forward. So I do really like the 4680 cells idea. I think that's very, very cool. And to me personally, the improvements they're making on a day-to-day basis, from the weight to how the cars are built to their facilities and factories, which is also considered to be another product by Tesla, according to Elon Musk, it's all very, very bullish for the long term. With that said and done, I want to thank you all for listening. I'm essentially seeing this thing just trading sideways tomorrow unless something really big is announced. But typically, when Bullard has spoken, we've seen the market respond a little bit negatively. So I wouldn't be surprised if Tesla's kind of a little bit in the red tomorrow, kind of sideways like this. I don't expect too much tomorrow. I think the markets are a little bit boring, but it's not the end of the world. With that said and done, thank you for listening. Please have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Tesla to the moon, and peace out.